on the topic of fitness, actually,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be cool as well because we've obviously done an episode about me. I wanted to, we'll obviously go episode by episode, but then we'll get to know about you guys a little bit more as well, which I think would only be fair. I wanted to start with you, Chris.
Yes. Okay.
How much lollies did you have to eat to get diabetes?
You don't want to know.
No, so those that don't know, Chris personally, or have maybe picked up in past episodes, in just past sayings as well, like Chris has type 1 diabetes. I think it'd just be something cool to kind of share a little bit about you, like how that came about, what life was like beforehand, and how you tackled through it. Because who knows, someone out there, it's such a common fucking thing, man. Like me working in the health industry, I speak to more and more people who have type 1 and regular hypos and hypers, and have trouble managing it and stuff like that as well. And I guess if there is someone out there that's one of our listeners, I think it'd be cool to kind of give a little bit of a glimpse. And this might be something maybe you dive down a rabbit hole a little bit deeper as well, but just something to give someone to listen to a little bit more about you, who you are, and why did you get type 1 diabetes?
Why?
Lord, why?
Dudes of the round table.
Oh man. Yeah. Diabetes is a very big issue in the world with many people, and I fit into the category of those people suffering with diabetes.
When did you get it?
I don't want to say suffering. I'd say more like dealing. I don't know. Yeah. Managing diabetes. Yes. Type 1 diabetes. All right. My story with diabetes goes back to 2008. So what initially happened for me was, let's go back to where so I was 18. I finally got
80 years old.
I was 80. I was 18 years old. I was at TAFE doing a prac week there, and just got all the symptoms, I was at TAFE studying and doing my courses and that, and I just had really dry mouth all the time. I had to urinate probably every 20 minutes, 25 minutes, which is weird. Feeling very faint and fatigued all the time, just feeling very weak and tired. Having dizzy spells, which was not normal for me, and just not feeling myself.
Yeah.
And it come on quite dramatically in that span of time. So I said this to my mum, I've been suffering from all these weird symptoms this week. I'm always feeling tired and run down. I need to pee constantly. I'm always thirsty. I need to drink water all the time. And I'm like, this is weird. This has never really happened to me before. And Mum's like, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll book you in for a doctor's appointment on Friday when you finish TAFE. And I'm like, okay. So that happened. Finished TAFE. Me and my mum go to the doctors and we explain what's been going on. And he goes, okay, this could be a couple of things. One of them, he said it could be a UTI, which is a urinary
tract infection.
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you, Ray. And the other possible
burning people
scenario, it could be possible diabetes. I'm like, I'll have selection 1, please. So he goes, what I want you to do is I want you to go to the nurses' quarters, and they're going to check your blood sugar level.
Pee-pee.
Yeah, no. So
sorry,
I go see the nurse there. She sits me down. She gets the little the reader. If you've met a diabetic or know a diabetic, they'll probably have a bag or a kit with them that's got all their needles and insulin and their finger pricker test, which checks your blood sugars. And they did that with me. They checked my blood sugars, and she kind of looks at it and walks away. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't look good. I'm like, okay. Me and Mum are sitting there, and my doctor comes back in with the nurse, and she goes, I'm going to let you have a chat with your doctor. I'm like, okay. So my doctor comes back in, and he goes, yeah, it's not good. I'm like, okay, what's going on? He goes, well, most regular blood sugar readings for a normal person without diabetes would be sitting in between the readings of 4 and 8, which is perfect. So you'll be sitting on probably an 8 or a 7. 7's the best reading to get, by the way, for a blood sugar reading, from what I've been told. And He's like, yeah, yours aren't good. I'm like, well, what am mine saying? He goes, so yours are on 27 or 26 point something.
Shit.
And I'm like, oh shit, that's not good. And he goes, no. He goes, so what I want you to do is I want you to fast tonight, and I want you to go straight to Fremantle Hospital and kind of go from there. I'm gonna let the hospital know that you're coming in the morning to suss all this out and figure out what's going on. And yeah, I remember going into the hospital. They put me into a room and all that sort of stuff. Did all these tests in the morning, that sort of stuff. And I was in hospital for 4 days, I think it was, and came out on the Monday or Tuesday. And with the diagnosis of type 1 diabetes. And it was a very strange time being in hospital. I'd never really spent that much time in hospital like that before, of like an overnight or a couple of nights, you know what I mean? So basically, I didn't really leave my bedroom or the ward that I was in, whatever. I had like a constant drip up, attached to me, inside me, like feeding me or the whatever was in me. And the nurses and all that and the doctors just showing me how to use my needle, which is like, it looks more like a pen.
Yeah.
So it's not like a syringe where I'm injecting it all the time. So basically, it's like a pen where you get disposable needle caps.
Yeah.
And it's got like a winder where it tells you how much insulin that you're going to be injecting. So they're teaching me how to do all this and to monitor my blood sugars and what you can and can't do and rah rah. And I'm kind of getting emotional thinking about it. I haven't really got in depth with this before. Like, I remember being woken up when I went to sleep, being woken up every single hour to a nurse kind of waking up going, I'm sorry, Chris, I need to check your blood sugars just in case you don't die in your sleep,
Yeah.
So they wake me up and they prick my finger and check my do a test, check my blood sugars, and they go, yep, you're okay, you can go back to sleep, or if not, you need to eat something or have this and that. So that went on for at least 3 or 4 days in the hospital, and the hospital food is bad, as everyone knows. But you think it's bad? You try the diabetic menu, it's bland as fuck. Not very nice. And it was a weird...
where Chris's infatuation with McDonald's began.
Oh, man. But, it was a weird experience being in the hospital, too. Like, I remember there was an old fella who was in the bed next to me, and I'm assuming he had, like, Alzheimer's or dementia, and he would have a carer with him constantly so he didn't go out and wander on his own and get lost. Yeah. And I remember one night... the carer that was sitting in there with him had gone to the toilet or something like that. And all of a sudden, he gets out of his bed, pulls the curtain, he looks at me. I'm like, how you going, mate? Are you all right? And he just looks at me like, where am I? And just kind of walks off. Next minute, I hear this bang. And I'm like, what the hell was that? And I can't get out of bed because I've got all these things attached to me. And I'm like, and the doctor runs in. He goes, what are you doing out of your bed? And like, he's fallen over and whacked his head. There's blood all over the floor. And I'm like, oh my God. And like then, and I remember, poor old bugger. I remember the next day, his family came in, and they had all the grandkids and all that there, and he didn't know who any of them were. And I was like, man, to make my situation worse, I've been stuck in here figuring out I've got a disease that I'm stuck with forever now. I've watched Pirates of the Caribbean like fucking 10 times, and I got this poor old bugger that's just fallen over, doesn't know who he is or his family or where he is. It's just like, my life's kind of spiraling out of control. Like, what the fuck's going on? I've just turned 18. This is supposed to be my prime. Like, party years, you're coming out of adolescence into your adulthood. Yeah. And I just get this thrust upon me. It's like, what the fuck? Like, but I do remember it really affecting Mum. Like, I remember coming home from the doctors before I went to hospital, and she just broke down crying, like, just blaming herself. I'm like, what are you blaming? This is not your fault. Like, this is like a weird,
turn of events.
Yeah, you can't predict any of this sort of shit. Like, but I think I kind of do put it down to maybe being, the cause of it being in high school. I did get sick a lot. Like, I remember I had whooping cough in like year 9. I was 14, and that wipes your immune system out for a while. And apparently I had glandular fever as well. So that really destroys your immune system. So maybe that had something to do with it. I was heavily underweight as well. I was borderline pretty much almost anorexic, like, 60 kilos barely, as you would have remembered me being that way. I mean, I'm still pretty thin now, but I was like really, really thin back then.
Chunky now.
A little bit. But so that's kind of my story on how it all began. So, if anyone is suffering from weird symptoms like what I described, like having the urge to urinate a lot, having dry mouth, having weird dizzy spells, not feeling coherent and with it, you know what I mean? just feeling faint.
Get checked.
I definitely go to your doctors and just ask and just do a couple of tests because you never know. And one of the scariest things about diabetes is a lot of people find out when it's either too late or borderline almost too late. I'm thankful to this day that I wasn't one of those cases where, for example, people have diabetes and don't know about it, and they go to bed and their blood sugars drop, which is called hypoglycemia. And that's when your blood sugars drop really, really low. And if you don't treat it within the right amount of time, you will slip into a coma and eventually you will die from it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people find out when this happens or borderline this happening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking terrifying, and it goes both ways. If your levels go up too high, which is hyperglycemic, I hope I'm saying that right, it can do the same thing as well. But having high blood sugars for a long period of time over expanded months, years, whatever, it can do a lot of damage to your nerves and all sorts of stuff. But I'll just give a quick rundown of what diabetes actually is. I've got it here on my phone here, so here we go. Diabetes is a chronic disease that occurs either when the pancreas does not produce enough insulin or when the body cannot effectively use the insulin it produces. Insulin is a hormone that regulates blood sugar. Hyperglycemia, which I just mentioned before, or raised blood sugar, is a common effect of uncontrolled diabetes and over time leads to serious damage to many of the body's systems, especially the nerves and blood vessels. So it's a very serious thing, man. Like, diabetes can affect so much, it'll fuck with your eyesight. You can go blind from it.
Yeah.
You get nerve damage where you end up losing your toes, your fingers, or your leg, or even an arm.
Yeah.
And it can affect all organs. Like, if you don't treat this and look after it and maintain your blood sugars, you're pretty much cutting your lifespan very short. And I've met people that haven't looked after their diabetes and they're rolling around in a wheelchair with their leg cut off or something. It's horrible. I wouldn't wish this disease on anyone, and it is weird to say, yes, I do live with the disease.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do about it except maintain it. And I did go through a few dark periods. I still do sometimes where I think, why the fuck do I have this? Why me? And I'm sure everyone out there that suffers from any disease goes through the same thoughts and the same emotions. But all you can do is just make the best of it and do the best you can with it and just be positive. Like, you're not dead. You're still alive. You're still kicking. So keep on and do your best and help influence positivity on other people that are suffering with any diseases, especially diabetes or anything else. And that's all I can really say about it. Like, there's a lot I can talk about diabetes, but I think I've given a pretty decent summary over it. So
That's a very good breakdown.
And you guys and all my friends and family have been a really great support. Like, they recognize if I'm going low, go, Chris, you need to eat something to help boost you up. So having a good support system is really great too. So love you guys.
You've done pretty well, man, in handling it, and like, you're very diligent, and like it's almost like it's like the back of your hand. Like,
it has to be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be doing better. Anyone could do better. Anything. You could be doing better with
Chris,
everything.
you're having a low, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some jelly beans.
Just rub the cheeseburger on his nose up. Nah, but you're not wrong, man. Like, that was a great way of explaining it and having breaking it down into a simple way of understanding diabetes, man. And it's a terrifying disease, but like you said, as long as you maintain it and control it, it's like it becomes second nature, doesn't it?
and that's like what you were saying, like your symptoms as well. Like, you were still at TAFE, you were still doing shit, and you didn't treat it, you didn't think of it anything as being super aggressively crazy. You might have just thought you were just sick, as such, and you left it till Friday to go get checked. Thank fuck nothing happened till you.
Yeah, I mean, shit,
There's something funny too. Like, I think it was when I got home from TAFE on that Friday, I had a snack after. I didn't have the best diet back then, and it probably still continues here and there. But back then it was really bad. But anyway, I remember eating it's either a Snickers bar or a Mars bar and a can of Coke. And that's probably why, that I would say is the reason why my blood sugars were skyrocketed.
Yeah, don't eat cans of Coke.
Yeah. It'll cut your mouth with aluminium and shit.
It's frozen.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, if you feel sick,
lethargic,
feel anything wrong, go get checked. It could be anything. It could be diabetes. It could be anything else.
And it can save your life.
It could save your life.
100%.
Actually, on that note, I want to kind of run into a little topic I wanted to bring up because it's something that kind of hits home. Not hits home. Yeah, I guess in a way it hits home a little bit close for me as well. So those of you that are in the fitness industry, close to the fitness industry, follow a lot of bodybuilders, and educators in the fitness industry might know about this, but some of you might not. But recently there was a big loss to the fitness industry at the moment. So my little talk here is going to be a little bit sad, but also there's a very positive takeaway from it all as well. And one part of it is what you've just touched on, which is if you feel sick or feel something's not right, go get checked. So to jump into it, a very well-known educator and bodybuilder, John Meadows, lives over in the United States. Recently, just this past week, passed away at the ripe young age of 49.
Yeah,
In his sleep.
So
Too young.
man.
In his sleep. And it was actually only just today. There's been I believe more of an official report as to what caused it. There was speculation of what it was,
Right.
but they've actually confirmed it now. It was what's called a pulmonary embolism, which is what I believe is it's a blood clot in your lung.
Jesus.
And it usually comes from something down in your legs as well. It comes up it clots. The clot breaks away and travels up through your veins, and then gets caught up in your lungs and causes a stroke almost, or like a heart attack, basically.
Yeah.
Now, I guess a little. Where I kind of want to run into this is give a little bit of a tribute to John, because I've known of John Meadows. I don't know him personally, but I've known of John Meadows for about, I'd say, almost 5 to 10 years now.
Yep.
Having been in the fitness industry myself, initially didn't really jump into him too much when he wasn't too well known, but he had some very good information as well. I guess for me, why I did jump into him early in these early stages was because, like anybody, I mean, for instance, for us, we share information, we talk about information and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You listen to our first couple of episodes, we're probably very obnoxious to listen to. Whereas now, we'd like to hope we're a little bit more interesting to listen to
Try
now
and be
as
a
well.
bit more informed.
Yeah. And with John as well, obviously maybe just being new to interviews and video and content and stuff like that, just used to waffle a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And then you could see as he got more comfortable with it, he got to the point. So with him, I didn't really get into him too early on, but I saw him float around with some of the big names that I really did like following along and getting educated by. So there was obviously something to this guy, as well.
Yeah.
He started his own little coaching, information, diet, training website called Mountain Dog Diet. It's still up. Go and check it out. And it's because he started that because that's how he wanted to share his information. He started on a website called T Nation, which for those of you that have done bodybuilding and stuff like that would know about that website. It's a very
Pretty big deal, eh?
pretty big website.
Yeah.
Where it's just a bunch of collaborators coming into it.
Yeah.
But then he started his own, and then that's pretty much built up his own community from the ground up. And he's never sold out into, hey, supplements, supplement brands coming and trying to sponsor him or anything like that. It's always been off his own back. Never talked bad about anything, anything or anyone. Just gave true facts about stuff.
That
as well.
video shows he's at home cooking in his kitchen, talking about weightlifting.
Just
and stuff like
general hey, use this rice instead of this
Yeah.
rice, and just simple,
Down to earth,
literally
sort of, yeah.
digestible, advice. That any person,
Yeah.
whether you're a bodybuilder or just looking to take care of yourself. So he'd give great advice, and he's affected a lot of health and fitness and bodybuilders, just the big leaders in the industry at the moment. He's affected a lot of them, and his lack of presence now is really, really, felt. For those of you, we'll put a picture of him up on the screen. He kind of looks like a buff Luke Skywalker. Massive geek. A little bit about him. Massive geek. Loved his comics. Loved his pop culture. Loved Star Wars. Loved, I think one of his favorite comic heroes was Wolverine, I think, because he started looking like Wolverine at one point with his chops.
Yeah, the chops in that video.
Yeah. But yeah, massive geek, massive helper, when it came to giving people the right advice and helping them out and stuff like that. Had a family, has, I think, 2 kids. So he's unfortunately left them behind. So our love and thoughts go out to the Meadows family.
Condolences.
But a little bit about him, where the positivity comes out of this is, one, he was very, very health conscious. From an early age, he knew he had certain health issues. One of them, I think, had something to do with his colon. He had some issue with his colon, and he had part of it removed, which then he found was kind of related to a blood clotting issue that he has. It's a genetic blood clotting issue, so he clots a lot.
Shit.
Go figure, pulmonary embolism. He's now unfortunately gone. But at the same time, I think it was about last year or a year and a half ago, he had a heart attack. Completely 100% recovered from it.
Yeah.
Because he'd done everything the right way, trained, exercised at the right pace and everything that he needed to. And, was back into training and doing seminars and helping people and stuff like that. But he was very meticulous about like health and doing things the right way, especially in the bodybuilding realm, where you're either natural or you're not. In both aspects, how do you take care of yourself the best way possible? If you're natural, what are some of the markers you need to look at to optimize your health and stuff like that as well? Like he pioneered a lot of that and made it come to light.
Yeah.
To focus on that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, the big positive takeaway I guess I want to kind of give with this, which relates to what you were talking about with the diabetes, is if you don't feel right, go get yourself checked. You only get one body, you only get one life, so don't destroy it, don't ruin it, don't take it for granted. Go and get checked. It's better knowing and then tackling it and prolonging your life rather than being ignorant and going, hey, I don't want to know because then it doesn't exist kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
If you are going through that, sorry you are, but harsh words, grow up, be an adult, go get checked.
It could save your life.
Could save your life and could save the people that you love around you a whole bunch of pain as well. And one thing he always did was always do good. He came from nothing as well. That's one cool thing I found out as well. He came from nothing. He didn't have any, he didn't know his real parents.
Oh, right.
His mum passed away when he was at a very early age, so he didn't get to know her, and he didn't never meet his dad, so he has no idea where his real dad is. And his grandparents actually and his aunt raised him. And then he got into the gym, got into bodybuilding, started competing in his early teens, and didn't get his pro card until I think just a couple of years ago. So in his 40s, he got his pro card. So a pro card is where you're basically considered like the elite, one of the elite, and you can compete with the elite now. And he didn't get that until recently. But yeah, so he achieved some really cool shit.
Yeah.
That's
he's
beautiful.
Done an amazing job, and he's affected and influenced a
So
lot
many
of
lives.
people
Hell yeah.
in the bodybuilding realm, in the powerlifting realm, in the general health and fitness realm of just being good and taking care of yourself. He's affected a lot of people, and he will be truly missed.
Absolutely, man.
Rest
Sounds
in
like
peace.
a fucking
Rest
dude.
John.
Like,
John, yeah.
Yeah,
But-
man, that's tough.
Message to take away: get yourself checked. Whether it's you feel ill physically, you feel ill internally, you feel ill mentally as well. Like we need to take care of every aspect of this vessel that we
Yes.
have. To make the most of what we have in this realm. So, yeah, that's my rant. Thanks for attending my TED Talk. See you next time.
that'll be $75.
Oh,
Well, gentlemen, I feel like this has been a pretty awesome experience that we've had tonight.
Yeah, we've made some fucking tunnels with the rabbits tonight, haven't we?
oh absolutely. And the bears and
And the machine guns.
just making holes into the ground.
Nah. I think this is the start of something pretty cool, something pretty
Yeah, and look, as we've always said, and I think in other episodes as well, is for you listeners out there as well, like we massively appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to our funky voices and
Means a lot.
random topics and tangents that we go down, and hopefully we still bring the vibe of you guys feeling like you're in the room with us, because that's what we want.
Absolutely.
That's why we do this. We want to be able to take you away from the normal mundane day to day and make you feel like you're part of this.
Yeah, make
come
your
in- and
work
come
day
into
feel
our,
awesome. Yeah.
Our realm.
crazy realm,
Yeah.
our weird ass reality. But
Yeah.
it's sick, man. I love that we can share this with people and they can tune in with
And if
us.
they want to share stuff with us, share stuff with us. Let us know what you want us
As
to
we
talk
always say,
about.
reach out to us. We
Yeah.
want to hear from you.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, gentlemen, I think it's been a great episode. It's been a great time,
Been a very good time.
and just want to thank the listeners for tuning in again on another beautiful episode of Dudes Around Table. Would you guys like to leave anything on a high note?
I've said all I need to say. Thank you. We love you,
Yeah.
Chris.
Like Jake always says to our first time and last time listeners, we appreciate you all, and just keep an eye out for the future and an ear out as well, because there's a lot coming to people.
Hell yeah.
Stay safe, like we said tonight. if stuff's going down mentally, physically, get it checked out. It could save your life.
Absolutely.
And on that note,
We love you. We love you. We love you.
we love you all.
All of you guys.
All right,
Tune
Stay
in
groovy.
next time, and we'll see you soon. Stay safe and peace.
dudes of the round table, signing off.
Let's go.